So today we are doing the podcast with Vânia, and she's in Porto, and I am in Cuxhaven in north of Germany, just by the North Sea. And as you can see, we are doing this in the boat, and we are using technology like Starlink over the satellites to do the podcast. And I would like to start welcome to Growth Leaders by Chart, where top minds share how they have grown, evolved, and led with impact. And today's guest is someone who lives and breathes people, first leadership. Vânia Leite Costa, Vice President of Human Resources at Lectra. She's a powerhouse HR strategist with over 10 years of experience driving growth, performance, and culture across global teams. At Lectra, she's helping shape the future of work in industries ranging from fashion to automotive, with human capital and innovation at the core. In today's episode, we dive into the big shifts in learning and development, the evolution of human resources, and how we lead and learn in the age of AI. Vânia, we are so excited to have you here. Welcome to Growth Leaders.
Thank you, Peter. I'm very excited to be here as well, and thank you so much for such kind introduction. Thank you.
You know what? Lectra, it's a technology company with headquarters in Paris, France. You operate in 59 countries with 59 subsidiaries, and you specialize in CAD software, computer-aided design, and you're responsible for the EMEA HR within Lectra. It's a French company, 3,000 employees, and approximately 530 million euro in turnover. As I said, headquartered in France, but rather recently you have also had a merge from Gerber Technology in the US, which is always exciting. So I'm going to just jump in asking you, do you see cultural difference in how employees engage with learning opportunities? And that does not have to be only, Portugal, France, US, but in general, if you can see that by your experience.
For sure, the cultural background of our people influence the way they learn, how they learn, the motivations that they have for learning as well, and how they can input the learning activities in their day-to-day. So, of course, the cultural background of our people, it's immensely important to define a learning strategy. And it's relevant in a multidimensional company, as you mentioned, that is present all over the world. Yes.
So do you take an example? I mean, if we take France and UK, France and US, do you see a difference how they approach the learning?
Currently, no, because I think the biggest priority, let's say, to how people relate to the learning is the objectives that they have with that and the strategy of the company towards the learning activities. So today, I think the most important thing to define our learning strategy is where we want to be, what we want to achieve. So you may know from your research that Lectra is doing a very important business transformation from its traditional business model to a new one. So of course today the most important criteria for us to define our learning and development strategy is our strategic roadmap. So everyone is engaged towards it, so it makes more common in terms of the diverse teams that we have.
And and that I think is really positive. Can you see a difference on the generations? Do you see any difference in the learning aspect, how the X generation, or I mean, those who are plus 50 and those who are from 25 up, do they learn differently, or do they all go into the train and with the same setup?
Yes, definitely there are differences between generations, also because of the different trends that we now have the opportunity to work on for learning, specifically AI, for example, and the younger generation is more tech savvy in that matter. But I think The biggest difference is that younger employees lean towards micro-learning or gamification, so very quick and speedy learning process. And more experienced employees often prefer the classroom, the structured, the programs, the mentorship, clear objectives, why
Mm.
I'm in this classroom, what I will take out of it, and how it will influence my performance. So the platforms, the content of the training is also very important to reach all these generational gaps.
Well, that's interesting. So that means you do have really a good mix of everything right now. How do you secure? I know you have EMEA as your prime, but I guess you also work on a global basis. How do you secure that the learnings you are, bringing on actually is strategically connected? I mean, from as you say here, the strategies, corporate strategies, has to go through what you actually bring out to employees. How do you secure that?
How do we secure that is strategic driven?
Yes, exactly, and so that everyone say, yeah, this is important. I mean, we really have to be on that train.
Mm-hmm. So the company has a very defined strategic roadmap that all employees have the vision and are clear on where we want to be in a particular time frame. So we create or we co-create the learning programs with that strategic roadmap in mind, and we work very closely with our business leaders to align their strategic goals to the performance of the teams. We also have a very senior workforce. We are very proud
Mm.
of the seniority average of our teams. So there is a need to empower our people for them to learn also by themselves, to grow on their positions, for us to be able to have such an interesting rate as we have now of internal mobility for new
Yeah.
positions. So it's 50-50, I would say, if I dare to say. It's the company that
Mm.
needs to drive the objectives and where we want to be, and make sure that our people is aware of where we want to be. But the employee or the people also has a very important mission on their learning strategy and on their learning curve. We learn every day. So I think that the top priority of a company like ours is to have the learning strategy embedded in our day-to-day as part of the
Yeah.
day-to-day.
And that's interesting because that means also everybody has their own responsibility in actually taking on for the next step. Out of curiosity, how is your mix today with women and men in the company? If from, well, overall and then maybe in leadership. And the reason
Very
I'm
well
asking,
balanced.
is it well balanced?
Yes,
How balanced is it?
very well balanced. It's not 50-50, but it's close to that in
Yeah.
between men and women, and also in leadership positions. Yes.
That's interesting because I had another podcast which is coming up, and what we were seeing there is it's actually becoming more women than men in
Mm.
leadership positions. Do you see a trend that the women are really moving in and taking on tougher positions than we can see from history? It wasn't like that.
Hmm.
You know that too.
Yes, and I'm glad that there is these opportunities and the companies are being well balanced and with diversity and inclusion approaches to that. But as I usually say, I think the best diversity and inclusion strategy is when we don't have to have one. So everything is moving in the right direction. So I understand I understand the question, and I'm glad that we are there and we are seeing that the world and the world overall, not only in business, is more equitative, and not only for women, but for all dimensions of diversity and inclusion. And I'm looking forward for the future where we are, not because we are men or women, but because of our hard and soft skills and our capacity.
So, as a VP of Human Resources, what keeps you awake in the morning? What is, what is your burning issues? Is it recruitment, or where is it, or is something going wrong, or something? You have a lot on your plate. What are the most burning, without going into confidentiality? But what could keep you awake?
Well, there's a lot of things actually. So as I've shared in the beginning, we are currently working on a very important business transformation at Lectra at the group level. So I would say that my biggest objective at this moment is to be able to contribute to that business transformation the best as I can with the resources that I have, and balance the equilibrium between the needs of our company and the needs of our people. And I think that is the the issue that keeps all HR people awake at night, is how we can balance the needs of our people with the needs and objectives of our company. And
Is that getting right person on the right place, or is it
is
uh,
everything
make?
really.
Is it give us some examples? Which
Well, it's first of all is this change management, how we can, and
yeah.
that's one big challenge everywhere, is because most humans are not very interested in change. So the change
Yes.
management is one of the top priorities that we have now. Change management in terms of business activity and business objectives in the way we implement our business model, but as well as our cultural change. As you said in the beginning, there was Lectra acquired the company Gerber a couple of years ago, but there was also other acquisitions. So to cultivate a sense of belonging between all of these people we got coming together under the same roof, we have to implement a very important project in terms of cultural transformation. So that is also another one. So change management, cultural transformation, how we keep our people engaged towards this business transformation. Our team that is very senior, as I said, that we have a very high average of seniority. So keep people engaged, having the right people in the right place, with internal mobility, with upskilling our people. So all of the learning and development strategies that there are and they are needed. So there is it's a cycle, I must say. It
Yeah.
is a cycle, and
It,
yeah.
it is exciting because it's not always known. I mean, going through a change management process could be small or it could be very large, which then is involving more or less the whole company. And it's only about communication, making sure that people. In your role, are you out also doing the communication by subsidiaries or and so on
Mhm.
what's happening and getting people to understand, or is that only the operational management?
No, HR has more and more business partner activity in the day-to-day, more close to the business, more close to our strategic roadmap. So yes, communication is a big part of it, and it's towards several initiatives that we try to have an open door communication towards our employees by strategic communications at the group level, at the regional level, by my responsibility, but also with my team that is based on a more local level and distributed across the 17 countries in EMEA that we support. So yes, it's a top to bottom approach and bottom top as well.
Yes, that's super interesting. So let's have a move here. We talked about a little bit technology in your company, but there's two parts of technology. There's the technology, if we now put into artificial intelligence, but there's more around it. Since your company, Lectra, is working a lot of the design utilizing. So the one question is really the AI in the business, and then it's the AI in supporting the business in terms of learning, fast learning, bringing up things to people. How far have you come there, and how much does that, how do you keep yourself on top of those things, or make sure your employees keep on top of that?
Well, I must say that globally, I feel that we are in a very, very beginning of the usage of AI. So I think most of the people still see AI just as the chat GPT, where we can ask recipes for dinner. So I think we are not there yet as humankind. So we are in a very, very beginning of the usage of the AI, and it is the same in our company. So we are introducing, of course, AI in all of our offerings. It's I cannot tell much, but AI is part
No.
of our offerings. But in terms of internal usage for or by the employees, because we have resources available in terms of AI, but the usage of our employees is still in the beginning. I think we have a lot of opportunities to develop AI as a very strategic partner, I want to say, in our day-to-day, in our learning initiatives, in our efficiency, working on the day-to-day as an advisor in some cases. So AI can be in such a world, it can be a lot. So for now, we are still in the beginning, but it's a very exciting beginning for me.
It's interesting because the way we have used artificial intelligence, that's in several aspects. One aspect is, of course, within a training course you do, let's say change management. Then you understand, okay, how does the change management work? What's needed, and how do you communicate, and all that stuff? And then utilize that AI within the training as such. And that, of course, expands any of the training courses. The other piece, which we have actually started to use, is as you say, on the mentoring. So when you have questions, because we always stimulate to have a good dialogue with your management and so on, but also have a first chat with your AI mentor and see what you find out, and then bring it forward, because then you get a broader information sense, because and you have to learn to value or evaluate that. Oh, okay, that's perfect. Okay, a little bit. I'm going to jump back to where we started, and that was quite exciting. So, if we look at your approach or your team's approach when it comes to leadership development across levels, that is first-time management, then we got the mid-management, and then we got the senior, and then, of course, you got the top executive. But if we look at those three levels, from what I heard a little bit, there could be a difference in approach. Potentially, or where you're moving to a difference. So now I'm a junior. I'm looking for my first time. I'm in your talent pool, and how do you approach a guy who's willing to put in all the extra and becoming a manager?
So for first-time management, I think the most important thing is to having the role transition, and we cannot undermine the power of a structured onboarding plan in this case as well. So the onboarding plan for the role transition, it's very important for first-time managers. I think that is one key pillar of the approach. Then, of course, having a coach or a mentor in the organization is also important for feedback, for psychological safety, for advice. And of course, we also have management training fundamentals driven by our coaching team
Yeah.
that supports the management, defining what is the let's say the strategy that we want to implement at this level, at the leadership level, to have a common leadership model across our company. So first-time managers, I would say that is three important pillars: onboarding, coaching or mentoring with someone internal, and then the training, classroom training with in management fundamentals. And of course,
And I
having
think,
a follow-up of their performance as a manager in the initial stage.
yeah, no, I think that's it's a great fundament you're putting into those guys and girls moving into, and then they also feel supported in what they're doing. You're working in Porto. You're
Yes.
headquartered in France. If we look now a little bit to other women and guys, so how does it work working remote? Because you are remote, even though I presume you travel a fair amount. But
Mhm.
uh, how do you see that, and how is it perceived?
We are a global company, so we are more and more remote now, and we have cross-functional teams. We have a matrix organization, so our leadership positions across EMEA, so the region that I support, is based in several countries. So of course, that with these kind of collaboration tools like Microsoft or Zoom, it makes easier to connect. So these kind of support tools are very important, but we cannot take the value of the human interaction. So yes, I travel very often to meet my colleagues and the teams in person, in the sites, and of course that boosts collaboration in a level that
Yes.
remotely will never do.
Yeah, no, that's great. And what advice would you give to your peers wanting to move up or now younger becoming leaders? What advice would you give if you look back on your journey and your experience?
As an HR person, we say.
Could be HR, but I see it still very much, if you move into a leadership position, it could really be any type.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
we could take both HR if it's specifically HR, absolutely.
Yes, so we can take HR and or any other function. I think that the most important thing, and for us to keep on the topic of today,
Yeah.
to never stop learning. And we have so many tools that can give you insight and information at all levels. So keep learning. Don't be in the box.
That's interesting. So stick out your head, make sure you're on top of doing things and learn new stuff. But that means also it should be fairly important for them to be open to build relations.
Mm,
I looked at last month's top course. That's actually influence, how to influence.
mhm.
When I so what courses do people take, and it differs actually from month to month. But last month is influencing. So and I guess that is a little bit part of it. If you have it to try to, if you have some good ideas, get in touch with Vanya or others and talk about. I guess.
It's connect with the people, right? So the great things happen when we connect. So I think it's the most fundamental part is to stay connected as well.
Yeah. So, some rapid fire questions to you.
Hmm.
One
Okay.
skill you believe every employee must master in 2025.
Every employee, I would
Yes.
say adaptability.
Good. That is really good. Do you have any books or podcast which is your go-to for learning, or where you say that's something I really like?
Well, I read a lot, books, I would say, but more classics, not so much
Yeah.
technical books. And I think I learn a lot on those as well. And but for the professional learning, is by interacting with other people, with my peers, with mentors, with experts, to search online, use AI. So I think my kind of learning style is more fast than reading a book, a technical book, I would say.
Okay. A leadership quote you live by. Is there anyone?
I'm not a very fan of living by quotes. I don't think there is a quote that will stand my entire professional life, I would say.
No.
This moment, I think that I'm very focused, as we discussed, on cultural transformation. So I think that one of the leadership quotes that we have from Peter Drucker is culture eats strategy for breakfast. So I think is the one that I'm keeping on my mind currently.
Yeah. And and that also means for most companies, it really starts by understanding the culture and drive it through the culture. Because if you don't, then you will run into problems later on. So I think that is a very good one. AI in learning and development, friend or threat?
Always a friend if we know how to use it.
If you were not in human resources, where would you be?
That's a fun one. I thought about it quite a few. I think that probably in the health sector, probably I would be. Something related to physiotherapy or something like that. I don't know why. Well, I know why. It's related to my hobby as a teenager and young woman. But yes, it's I think would be in that world. Completely different.
Okay.
Some kind.
But still taking care of people.
Yes, if we thought about it,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. You know what, Vanya? I love talking to you, and we're going to end today's podcast. And I would like to thank you so much being on Growth Leaders by Short, where we focus on leaders on a journey and leaders to come. Thank you so much, Vanya.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. It was a pleasure.